Alright, so I decided to do a video today. Something that not a lot of people have done. Well, they do it, but not the way that I want to do it, which is S1000. Should you get one or should you not get one? Um, this is not a like, hey, this is a terrible bike, which I'm not saying this at all. This is a really nice and really fast bike, but just some things people don't tell you. I'm going to start with number one that a lot of people want to know. If you get any other bike and you want to get tuning done to it or you want to do an ECU flash, you plug it right back in. There's a module right here. I can show you real quick. There is a unit right here. That right there connects straight into your ECU, but with BMWs, can't do it. You gotta send in your ECU to get it flashed. You can't get a module plugged into it for it to be flashed. It doesn't work. So that's one thing that people need to know before getting an S1000 is that if you want to get a flash done to it, you gotta take your bike, you gotta take your little tank or your cap right here. You gotta take this cover off and get to the ECU, and you gotta mail it in there. There's only really one company that does an ECU flash right now, and that's pretty much it for now, is that you got to do that. The other thing to know about it too is that you can void your warranty. If you're going to buy a BMW, buy it from a dealership, whether it's used or new. The reason why is because with BMWs and most bikes, they do this thing known as over-revving. Even though you see 16,000 here, you can still drop it down. If you drop it down a gear, it's going to over-rev it. And what happens is whenever they buy it, they're going to hook it up to that module, and they're going to check it, and they're going to run through the bike to see if it's been over-revved. If it's been over-revved, they'll still buy the bike off of you, but you're going to lose a lot more money because of it being over-revved. And that only really happens with people that are taking it to the track and they're just not watching their RPMs whenever they're going through a corner or whenever they're getting ready to downshift to see whether or not they're going to be in their torque or if they're going to be really down in their RPMs. The other thing is that if you get these rims, these are the HP Forge wheels. If you get the HP Forged wheels, you can't do a 520 chain conversion. You still have to have the 525 chain, which this is just a 3D chain, and I just am one down on my sprocket up here. So that's what I have on my bike, is I'm just down one gear on my sprocket. Or I'm plus one on my sprocket, sorry. So I still have the 445 tooth and 17 tooth. So that's just a couple of things there. A lot of the other things is that these bikes do run hot. They run a lot hotter than most bikes. You'll really feel it because whenever you're riding it, feels like it's just dumping heat right here, especially whenever the fans kick on. You can really feel it like on your ankles. Other than that is a lot of the stuff you want to do to the bike, I really would suggest taking it into a dealer to get a lot of the modifications done unless you have experience with BMW bikes, because a lot of it can be very misleading. There's a lot of things that seem really easy to do until you start doing it, and then it starts it requires a lot more stuff than what you think it does. One of the biggest things for me was whenever I was removing the headers, there's a bolt that is up there at a 45-degree angle, and you need to get a T-handle to actually break that off, because if you don't break that Torx, you're going to wind up stripping the bolt if you try anything else, and you can't get your hand in between the headers and the engine block to try and remove it either. So I just wanted to make this small little video. I hope it helps anybody, but I'm going to be doing some pro lists to why you should get a BMW too. These were just some of the few things that are cons. Other things too is that, with these grips too, if you are going to get a BMW, I suggest like the 11s and belows. One of the things is like if you want to get a quick throttle, 150 bucks, quick throttle for this. you're looking at $1,000. A lot of the stuff for the older BMWs are actually a lot easier. ECU flash, all you have to do is plug it into that module. You can get the 520 chain conversion on that one because it's not using the forged wheels. Some of the other things too is like a lot of the stuff that's on that one is kind of the same engine wise. Like the actual motor for the S1000, the only things that's a little bit different is I think they moved the rev limiter up a little higher. They use different valve springs, and I think they did something else internally with the engine too. But a lot of the stuff that's on this, if you're going to use it for anything, there's only really two things that this bike is really good for, and that's cruising. If you're going to use it like an everyday bike and you're going to just drive it everywhere, this bike's really nice for that. I mean, it has heated grips and it has cruise control. The other thing too would be racing. Those are really two applications. I mean, this thing just lives at the track. It really does. You have an insane traction control system that has a slip control too. So with the slip control, what it does is it allows you to take the bike if you're going into a corner, and it allows you to slide around the corner if you properly use the slip system. So pretty much a rolling burnout sideways is what you can do with it. There's a lot of videos out there too. If you want to see what I'm talking about, just look up slip control on the S1000 and they'll show you exactly how you can engage it. The launch control on it too. Launch control on this is really good, and the ABS is too. If you're at the track, I suggest closing the ABS off, because if you're riding it at the track with the ABS on, I've done it one time and it gave me a very, very weird entry into a corner. I was braking, expecting the actual front brakes to kick in a little bit harder, and instead of me going and diving down and compressing the front forks, it kind of more or less compressed the front forks and then balanced itself out. So I wasn't entering the corner the way that I'm used to entering the corners. Some of the other things too is you can get the electronic package, which I have here. I have the electronic forks. It also comes with the electronic rear shock too. The thing with that though is this bike's a lot better, but there are other ones like the 15, and I think there's some HP4s too that I've seen come into the dealer or come into the shop that they have locked forks. So what happens is if you run the dampening on it, so like it allows you to control the stiffness and the rear and the rebound. So compression and rebound. Your rebound is the forks going down, your compression is them coming back up. If you run the compression really stiff, what will happen is you can cause the forks to be locked. So it's not going to be able to compress and rebound essentially the same as it would. So on the track is where you're really going to notice it. If it actually is happening to your bike, you might notice it on the street if you hit a really hard bump, because then their shocks aren't going to be compressing. Or if you're going under like real heavy acceleration, then it's just going to feel like you're going to be doing wheelies all the time instead of the forks actually compressing and coming off. So that way, you know, whenever you give it into the throttle, your rear shock is going to be compressed and your front forks are going to be rebounding up. But those are just a couple things that I got. If you guys want to know anything else, leave it down in the comments. I know I'm not out riding. I got some more videos, but I will be uploading this one soon. Peace out, peeps.